Okay, we are live. We can start. Hello, Pari. How are you today and where are you dialing from?
Hi, Kate. I'm doing really well. I'm dialing in from Dubai, and it's a pleasantly warm day here.
I'm dialing from Poland. It's not far away from you and it's pretty hot in here.
Okay.
So let me start with my most favorite question. Oh, actually, of course, first of all, you got to introduce yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my name is Pari Namazie. I run a boutique consultancy called UNEPA. It stands for Eurasian Nexus Partners. We are based in Vienna, Austria. And our main work is focused around leaders and organizations. Myself, I'm an executive coach and a leadership team coach and facilitator. So our work is usually with organizations, with individuals, with teams, and the whole organization, helping them to improve and add value, whatever that means to that organization, individual, or team.
Wonderful. So now I can start with my favorite question. And the question is, if you could have any superpower for a day, what would it be and how would you use it to advance your field, which is probably your company and what you work for?
It's a lovely question, Kate. And I keep thinking of superpower, and I have all of these crazy ideas of superpowers, right, for me. And of course, the image that comes to my mind is flying and being really strong and stuff. But I think if I had a superpower that would help advance my field, especially in the work that I do with leadership, in coaching leaders, I think it would be something like this energy field. Like how could I project energy that people could own their own energy and be in flow? I think that would be the most superpower. And that's something like what I mean by being in flow is that they we all get stuck somewhere, but how to share that energy, that it's going to be okay, and own that power that you have. And if I could somehow give that field, that energy field, to someone else, I think that would be really cool.
This is wonderful. So in the realm of leadership coaching, which is probably, what you're doing, what is the most unusual or maybe like unique challenge that you've helped the company to overcome? Maybe it can be a quick case study, maybe some example that you can think of.
Yeah, I think of two actually. In coaching, in leadership coaching, I mean, someone comes to coaching because they're stuck somewhere. And usually it's either, they're stuck where they're working on a promotion and they don't know how to really own their power when they in this new role, or they're stuck somewhere, or they're seeing a repeated behavior throughout their career. So it's how do you unblock that? And one of the challenges I saw with one of with a client, but this is something that happens often, it's that we're the ones who hold ourselves back. And how do we unblock that so we can actually live into our power? And there's so many things. I remember working with a particular leader who was so very blocked, amazing, talented person, but very blocked in what is my power? How do I unleash and actually live to that authentic, true power? There are so many imposters that held the person back. We were able, it felt like, we were fighting these demons, or these beings, and fighting, pushing them one out of one after the other out of the way, and then suddenly a larger one would pop up and a larger one would pop up. And really managing to do that was transformational. It was inspiring, it was empowering, it was so beautiful. And another challenge, which I think a client faced, is so a lot of the, when I work with a team, a lot of the teams that I would work with initially are somehow dysfunctional. Something's not working. And so how to get them to create that space is extremely beautiful. Instead of being in silos, instead of attacking one another, instead of letting the egos be there, it's actually, how do we collaborate? How do we trust one another? What's the space we need to do that?
Absolutely. I actually pretty much relate to the first challenge that your client had faced because, we often think that we are capable of doing something, but something within us stops us, and we actually need help from the outside to be able to overcome this challenge. I absolutely agree with this. So, but, when we're
I-
trying to do this, what is
yeah.
this, one or maybe a couple of common mistakes that leaders make when they're trying to, make it better or just change their style, become better leaders?
I mean, in continuing your own discussion of you also understanding that that's one of the things, the saboteurs is one of the things we stop ourselves from. I think one of the very important things is forgiving ourselves and coming to a place of love within ourselves. And I think once we do that, so much opens up. So that one of the mistakes I see so often, Kate, in leaders is 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 never taking the time for the self. It's not, you're always thinking of the putting out the day-to-day fires, the organization that needs this demand, this deadline, but we forget ourselves in the process. We forget that we have to manage our energy and the big rocks. We so many leaders at the end of their careers turn around and say, if you ask them what would you have done differently, they would say something like, I wish I spent more time with my children. I wish I invested more in my friendships, in my social networks. We forget that. So the
This,
mistake
I feel
is,
like the problem of, personal life and work is such a huge problem now because of the way of life is pretty, it's pretty fast paced, all of the technologies that we're trying to keep up to make our businesses successful. Absolutely. It's a huge problem.
yeah, very
So
true.
what do you think is the, this main skills gap that, leaders face? The first part of the question, and the second part of the question, you as our, proud Gleek mentor, how you can help, business leaders to close the skills gap when it comes to their leadership. So we can divide the question in two parts.
Yeah, it's a lovely question. I mean, skills gap, I would, yes, I know we're in a VUCA world and, it's volatile and uncertain and complex and ambiguous, and that's going to continue. So obviously a leader has to deal and navigate that complexity. Yes. But I would say skills to work on for being a more effective leader is self-awareness, taking the time to be more self-aware, taking the time to reflect, hearing people's voices, listening. It's we think it's so simple, and yet none of us do it. That's definitely one of the skills. And I love this word, compassion and empathy. It's something we need to work on more. And what was the second part of your question, though? I answered the first.
How would you help, as a mentor, if you were to be someone's mentor, how would you help them overcome the problem? Maybe a couple of steps, tips that you
Yeah.
like to fail.
I mean, overcoming it would be things like really developing your self-awareness, taking time to do that, maybe having a routine every day. You wake up, I don't know, some people use meditation, some do breath work, some go for walks. So really invest in that. There's so many resources out there too. There's so many things, and maybe in our Glee community, it might even be something like a reminder. I know there are these lovely micro practices which are sent out every day, and I'd love to see a micro practice on loving yourself.
I'll note that. I'll note that.
I think that would be one of my tips. Would be let's start. Let's build our community one loving self at a time.
Wonderful. Maybe there are some, as a closing, maybe there are some, insights that you'll also like to provide since we're talking about leadership and all of these stuff. Just something from you that you would like to add. Maybe there's something.
I think I always think leadership is a lonely journey. We're not going to get it right. It's okay.
There will be so many mistakes we'll make along the way.
There will be mistakes.
Absolutely.
Be honest about that. I love where we can be vulnerable. We don't have all the answers, but it's okay to share that with people. And it is so much about the journey. It's so much about it's not the final destination. It's how do we get there? You know, what do we need to work on to get through that? They're going to be, you know, there's this lovely image which said, we think life is like this one straight line, but we forget that life is, you know, full of these ups and downs and these little messy bits in between. And that's exactly what leadership is as well. There are a lot of messy bits in between. But take a moment, reflect, because in every one of these messy bits, there's wisdom. Listen to them. And I think one of the very, very powerful things, and I've been working with different teams on this at the moment, is how do we process our emotions? Because the other thing is dealing with conflict. And we always think dealing with conflict is a bad thing, or conflict is a bad thing, but it's not. There's wisdom there. So how do we learn from it? And how do we engage with it? Lots of learning.
This is wonderful. It was so engaging, you know, listening to you, because you have such a calming voice and so many insights. So thank you so much. It was a short but really insightful live. So if anyone wants to learn more about Pari and how she can help you, you can check out her Gleek profile on our website. Again, thank you so much for being part of our wonderful community. And I can't wait to see what we'll do together. So
Thank you, Kate. That was a lot of fun.
Have a
Take
good
care.
day.
And you too. Bye.
Bye.